Hello, welcome to Yoga for Wellness. My name is George and I'm here with Bentley, and we have an awesome practice here that's going to be focusing on yin yoga. The full disclosure of this video is this was a live stream where I had a malfunction with my microphone, so in efforts to salvage the video, I am re-recording the voiceover so you can get the most out of this practice. This is sponsored in part by Wilkes Recovery Revolution in partnership with Yoga with George Ethan. Check out our pages to learn more about what we do. For this practice, of course, you'll need a mat. I recommend you get a block or two for you to get the most out of this video, as well as maybe a blanket or pillow. So make sure you go ahead and grab those things, and while you do, maybe you want to put on some background music. I don't put music in my videos since everyone has a different taste, so just go ahead and get those started now, and we will begin here in just a second. We are going to begin on our knees. If your knees are sensitive, go ahead and maybe roll up your mat or possibly place your knees on a pillow, or even place them on a blanket to give you a more accessible pose here. We're beginning in hero pose. Feet together, knees together, spread the ankles apart, and lay your hips in between the heels. We're going to start with some breathing, some deep breathing in this class today, just to set the mood and to set a intention for our practice. So take your time getting here and getting settled in. All right, to begin, place your hands on your thighs, and all together we'll take a deep breath in through the nose. Long breath out through the mouth to begin. Now continue focusing in on your breath as we continue our class today. Your breath will carry you from moment to moment, as it will also enrich the experience of your practice by focusing on the expansion. With your inhale, you're creating space in the body, and focusing on the contraction of the exhale, you soothe and relax the body. So take that as we practice today, and a good way to start would be beginning by placing your left hand on your heart, right hand below the navel, and breathe into these spaces along with me. Breathe in and exhale. Think nice and tall. Maybe close the eyes or soften the gaze. Begin setting intention for your practice and putting aside your to-do list, letting go the day so far. Your breath might not be in sync with mine, and that's okay. But focus on what works best for you, as this is your practice. So tune in to your needs. If you take anything from today, that is the lesson. Try to trust your intuition, trust your needs today. Now let's breathe in, create space. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Continue deepening your breath. Maybe you have a word or phrase to use for your intention today. And just settle in. Finding expansion with your inhale. Finding calm and relax the shoulders with your exhale. We're going to repeat this a few more times. And while you do so, try to envelop the beauty of stillness, as the days we live our lives can be so fast-paced Here's an opportunity to be completely and totally still, which in yoga and in life it's not as common, and we should relish in the opportunity to slow down. So take this time for you. Breathe deeper into your stomach and into your hand. Notice the rise and fall of the breath. Continue at your own pace. This class is designed to help you find ease, to help you find a deep stretch, to help you calm the nerves, to stabilize the joints, and to feel good. So let go everything that does not serve you in the present moment. And when your mind begins to wander, return to the breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Continue here for just a few more moments, taking maybe 3 or 4 more deep breaths before we begin to transition into our next pose. When you are ready, place your hands on the mat and walk them forward, going into tabletop. Wrist under shoulders, knees under hips. Then place your knees as wide as the yoga mat. Place your toes together and then use your hands to walk your hips all the way back. Make sure you're grounding down with the tailbone. And when you're ready, use your palms to walk yourself forward. An opportunity to extend or expand the practice, you can use your blocks to place your hands on top of so you can get a deeper heart stretch. You can place them tall, you can place them in their medium length, whichever suits you for today. And if you don't have blocks, you can lift your palms by pressing your fingers firmly into the mat to deepen your heart space stretch. Today I'm going to elect to place my palms on the blocks so I can get the most out of this stretch today. And if blocks are not available to you and you have some novel books, go ahead and collect those if you're interested in deepening this part of your practice. Allow your heart to melt with each exhale and breathe into the back body, stretching the fascia of the back and the low back. Breathe in and out. Find yourself softening the body. Find yourself stretching the fascia with each inhale, creating space and expansion. And find softness as we exhale, relishing in the stillness we are cultivating in today's class. Breathe in and out. We're going to stay here for just a few more breaths, then we'll transition to our next position. Allow yourself to take note of where the body meets the floor and feel supported in this pose. You are supported. You can say silently or aloud the mantra, I am supported. Or you can elect to say, or silently or aloud, I surrender. I surrender to stillness. I surrender to this moment. Take a breath and exhale. On your next in-breath, bring your gaze forward and use your blocks or hands to walk over to the left side, allowing both hands to spill off the mat, cultivating a deep stretch in the right side body, particularly in the right hip. Take a moment here to deepen your breath. Breathe into the spaces that feel tight, creating space and softening in those tight spaces as you exhale. Breathe in and out. Allowing moment to surrender to this present moment. Give yourself about another minute here. In yin practice, we hold poses about 2 to 4 minutes so we can deepen our relationship to our bodies, deepen our relationship to our breath, and find a greater stretch than we would if we were to hold these poses for 1 to 2 minutes. So relish in the breath, in the pause, and be present with the sensations. Breathe in and out. On your next in-breath, bring your gaze forward and begin to walk your hands to the opposite side, to the right. And we will repeat this sensation here on the left, breathing into the tight spaces, the fascia of the left side of the body and the fascia of the left hip. Breathing deep to cultivate space, exhaling to find softness. Breathe in together and softly exhale. Take an opportunity now to notice the quality of the air in the room. Notice any sounds in your area. Noticing any thoughts or memories that might bubble up, and then let it go in the passing of the breath. Also remaining mindful of the body, focusing your tailbone down towards the heels, opening the heart space, breathing into those tight spaces. We'll hold this pose for 1 more minute. Take a few more deep breaths in and out. You're doing a great job, my friends. Continue your breath, finding expansion with your inhale and contract with your exhale, creating space and softness. Now on your next in breath, bring your gaze back forward once again and walk your hands back to center and use your heart to guide you forward and up back into tabletop position. And then lower your hips down as we move into a Sphinx pose. Go ahead and set aside the blocks for now. Place the elbows directly underneath the shoulders here. And like you're pulling the floor towards you, we're going to open our hearts, allowing our hearts to press forward in Sphinx, pressing firmly down into our pelvis and the tops of our feet. Option here also to extend the arms out forward to straighten them out completely, entering seal pose. Whichever you are feeling today, we're going to hold in Sphinx or Seal, strengthening the low back, opening our hearts. And while in Sphinx for Seal, gently allow your chin to drop toward your chest just a little bit to create length in the back of the neck. Breathe deep here. Inhale in and out. You may feel a little shakiness here, which holding these poses can build strength in the arms. That means your body is working, that it's alive. And to stay in there, continue to slowly and deeply breathe. Continue pulling the floor towards your body with your hands or arms, opening the chest, creating space, and breathe into that heart space that we are cultivating. Maybe you take a moment to close your eyes or soften the gaze, keeping the head facing forward, chin slightly towards your chest to open the back of the neck. As we cultivate strength in the low back, notice all the areas of the floor that meet your body. And find stillness for just a few more moments. We have about a minute to a minute and a half left. You're doing great. You're taking this time to practice yoga. And yin yoga is a different type of practice that is much slower. But what you will know from holding these postures for some time is it's got its own sorts of challenges. See what bubbles up whenever you hold these poses. You might unlock some memories you haven't thought of in some time, and that's okay. All you gotta do is breathe through it. Return to the breath as your mind begins to wander. This is an opportunity to let go and be present with the body. A fair reminder to also not push your body to where you feel pain. Just ease off if you ever feel like this is something that's too much for you. On your next in-breath, bring yourself back to all fours. Press into your hands to lift. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips as we go into cat-cow. Draw in the abs ever so slightly, and inhale, we're going to drop our belly, bring your gaze forward and up. And as you begin to exhale, draw the navel in and up and dome your shoulders, pressing away from the mat, bringing your chin down to your chest in cat pose. Pressing away from the mat. Now repeat, using your in-breath to enter into cow pose and your out-breath to draw into cat. Use your own breath to cue your movements and enjoy it, as this is our one dynamic setup of movements for this class today, to kind of practice spinal flexion and to reset after our heart opening poses. Maybe you find yourself bumping your hips one side and another, bringing your gaze opposite of the hip bump to enter back into cat and cow. Take this time for you to enjoy the moment. Now take one more cat and cow. And when you are ready, go back into a neutral spine. And we'll begin by warming up the legs, by extending our right leg back, curling the toes under, lifting the leg, drawing the knee into the chest with your exhale, and placing the foot on the outer edge of the right hand, entering a lizard lunge. Allow your toes to spill off the right side of the mat. You can stay on your hands or even place your hands on blocks. And use your breath to determine if you're ready to go lower onto your elbows. If this is not where you are today, stay on your hands or blocks. But you'll notice as you breathe into your hips, over time, you may feel more inclined to be able to expand your stretch by lowering to the mat. Be mindful of the alignment of your hips, rolling your left glute forward or your left hip forward and pulling back on the right hip. Aim to keep your spine in alignment. Breathe deep here, all together. Inhale and exhale out. Find softness. Breathe into the hip, all together. Inhale and exhale out. If you wish to lower down but cannot quite make it all the way down to your elbows, you can use your blocks or books to place your elbows onto, so you're bringing the floor up to you, and thus deepening the stretch without straining. Breathe into your tight spaces here to bring a deeper stretch. Inhale, exhale. After one or two more breaths, we're going to transition. So do your last breath in this pose. And when you are ready, bring your hands underneath the shoulders to lift back up. And begin to walk your right heel across the mat to either allow it to be parallel with the front short edge or bring the heel closer to your hips in pigeon posture. Scoot back the back foot as needed and peek if you need to. And if you need support, place the block under your pelvis or your right hip. We begin with our hands underneath our shoulders, but we're going to bring ourselves into a fold here. So inhale, look forward, and then exhale, begin to walk your hands forward and fold over the front leg, finding a deep stretch in the right glute and the front and the left thigh. Breathe here into those tight spaces, the hip, the left thigh, the back, and the heart space, softening with each exhale. We stretch the legs as they carry the stress that we hold in our bodies day to day. So we are practicing our mental hygiene as well as the physical. There are certainly benefits to a slow practice. You're allowing yourself to clear your mind and to be intuitive with your body. If you want to deepen the heart opening stretch, you can place your hands on the blocks. But for now, if that is not for you, just allow your hands to rest on the floor. And encompass complete stillness. Allow yourself to sink deeper into the pose with each breath. Inhale. Exhale out. When you're ready, walk your hands back to lift the torso. Curl your back toes under to scooch your left knee forward and unravel the right knee. And sliding the right knee out towards the right of the mat, spilling out your right foot, creating a half frog pose. Keeping your left leg completely extended back, we're going to bring our torso into Sphinx, creating a half Sphinx, half frog. Breathing into our right hip, creating an opening and counteracting the pose we just created in pigeon posture. Breathe deeply here for a few moments. Make sure your hips are remaining even. And like before, we are pulling the mat towards our heart space, thus opening the heart center forward. Breathe deep here. Doing these hip openers help you with normal sitting day to day, creating space. You'd be surprised to know when I started yoga, I couldn't even sit in a cross-legged seat normally without folding over. That's what the benefits of regular practices are. Now we'll transition into a froggy squat. To do so, enter all fours, tabletop position, curl the back toes under, and continue walking your hands back, keeping your knees bent, and begin a gentle sway side to side if that's accessible to you. If you need, you can grab a block to place under your hands, or if you want to stay stationary in froggy squat, place the block underneath your hips for support. But for now, if you're feeling accessible, begin swaying one side and another. And breathe deep. After getting a good stretch in the fascia of the feet and opening the hip flexors, we're going to transition back into all fours to prep for the other side. So, wrists underneath shoulders, knees under hips, and when you are ready, extend your left foot back and lift with the inhale. And on your exhale, draw the knee into the chest and place the left foot to the left of your left palm. Adjust as needed as we prepare for lizard lunge, left side. Option to place your hands on the block or 2 blocks. Keep your hips nice and even here. Align from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Breathe deep here. This is opening up the hip flexor on the right, as well as creating space in the legs here by using your breath. Find your way to lower down when space becomes available. If this is too intense for you, you can place your elbows on the block. Continue breathing deep in this posture, creating more space with each inhale and finding softness with each exhale, until you find a place where you can encompass stillness for a few moments. Let's breathe together. Inhale and exhale. Continue breathing deeply. If you notice areas of tightness, breathe into those areas. As thoughts may bubble up with this deep stretch, allow them to flow away with the breath. And again, if this pose is too intense, there's a variety of variants that we can use. And use your tools, use those blocks. Prep yourself up on the hands. Scoot your left foot out. Scoot your back foot forward. It doesn't have to be a super deep stretch. Moving on, we're going to transition into pigeon pose. So moving back with the hips, we're going to move our left foot across the front of our bodies. Peek if you need to. Again, option to use your block underneath the hips if that's what you need today, but that's not required. And we'll find ourselves lowering down into a fold. And if needed, you can bring that left foot closer to the pelvis. We're all in a different place. Or maybe use your forearms as a pillow. Allow yourself some time for stillness to recognize the ground beneath you, supporting you completely and fully. Notice the stretch in your back with your breath intake. And notice the softening of the back with each exhale. Maybe if your forehead meets the floor, you find a gentle sway side to side. breathe in together. Inhale and exhale. Enjoy this moment of surrender. Take this moment to look inward. Notice how you feel. Just notice and be present. Continue breathing deeply. Notice if your hips sink a little further or soften a little more with each exhale. I know over time mine have definitely gotten closer to the ground than before. Give credit to the asset of time and the breath, for those are powerful tools that really help deepen the stretch. Breathe into the low back body here. Breathe into the heart. I keep repeating the cues to breathe because it's such an important asset to help deepen your stretch. Now, let's begin to transition into our half Sphinx, half Froggy. So bring that left leg out to spill out to the left side of the mat, placing your shoulders above your elbows, hands on the mat or floor, pulling the floor towards you to open the heart center, having a gentle lowering of the chin towards the chest. Breathe deep. This is to counter the interior stretch of the leg, making it more of an anterior at this time. Let's breathe in together. Inhale. Exhale it all out. Take another moment or two in this pose, breathing deep, and then we'll transition once again into our froggy squat. We're going to extend our left foot straight out behind us. Press up to all fours nice and slowly. And then curling our toes under, we're going to walk our hands back, spread our knees wide, and keep going till we lift our knees off the mat. And find a gentle sway side to side here. This is your last opportunity, so make it count. And again, you can always come back to this at a later time or whenever it suits your needs. Up next, we're going to do a wide-legged overhead stretch. So make sure you get any more wiggles out that you need before we enter a stationary position once again. But when you're ready, and you may want to use a pillow underneath your hips, spread your legs nice and wide. So you also want to keep your heart lifted here. Think nice and tall, and then draw your right heel in towards the pelvis. Now take your left hand to start and place it on the right knee. Inhale, think nice and tall. Option to raise your hand with that. And as you exhale, think up and over as you reach to your left toes. Some may feel capable of catching the toes, some may not. But the goal here is to remain open in the chest. So focus in on opening the chest, breathing into those tight areas. Also be mindful of the spine. Maintain a nice length from the tailbone to the crown, thinking nice and tall. Trying not to collapse into the pose, but focusing on extending the length in the right side body. Allow your breath to deepen the stretch little by little. You may not get that far to start, but the longer you maintain this pose while focusing on your breath, you will notice a change as time goes on. Keep your heart open by rotating the chest upward. You could do this by pulling the thumb back and focusing your palms, pinky pulling back as well. Also, keep your left foot engaged to protect the knee. And deepen your breath here. When you're ready, allow that right hand to gracefully fall, and we're going to switch, elongating your right foot out, bringing your left foot in towards the pelvis. Again, think nice and tall, creating length in the spine. Take a breath here, and then place your right hand to your left knee. Reach your left hand up, breathe in. And as you exhale, think up and over to the right, reaching towards your toes. And you may notice that this side feels differently than the other, and that is completely and totally normal. Remember to keep your glutes onto the mat. If you notice a lift off the ground beneath you from the sitting bones, ease back down. Again, we want to focus in on the stretch we are cultivating here. And if you're leaning over, it's taking away from the full stretch experience. So focus that left sitting bone down towards the mat. Now let's breathe in together and exhale. Relax the shoulder. Find softness. We're only here for just another 30 seconds, so keep breathing, deepening the stretch, cultivating length, and sitting with any discomfort that comes. It's okay to sit with discomfort. Ask yourself if that's possible. Take another breath. And as you exhale, begin to lower the left arm back down nice and easy. And we'll transition to our next pose. Now, opening both legs out wide, we're going to do a wide-legged forward fold. Keeping both toes nice and active, we're going to reach up, inhale, and then exhale, crease at the hips and fold forward. If you haven't already, maybe grab a block for support. It's not required if you are accustomed to this pose, but to get the most out of your practice, especially for beginners, maybe take a block to use for support. Maybe you could use it to place your forehead on. And you may not be able to reach far to begin with, but you'll notice, of course, as you continue to breathe deep, that you'll enter slowly more and more deeply into the pose. And just a reminder, it's okay to ease off. This isn't a competition. Your legs don't have to be completely side to side. You can bring them a little closer together if needed, or even have a micro bend of the knee. Everyone's in a different place. Just be mindful of the fact that you are trying, and that's worth something here. That's worth something everywhere. Breathe into the low back body and the shoulders here. If you were keeping your chest lifted here, you can now find a gentle fold over. Allow your head and neck to fully and completely relax. Maybe you find yourself onto your elbows. Maybe you can bring your full torso all the way to the mat. Wherever you are, again, breathe into those tight spaces, cultivating an expansion, creating space, and creating softness with every exhale. We're going to stay here for a few more breaths. Let's say probably 4 more breaths at your own pace. Let's breathe in together. Inhale. Exhale it out. Now do 1 or 2 more at your own pace. On your next in-breath, use your hands to walk your torso back up, and you may feel a little sensitivity in the back and hips. That is normal. So pick up your legs one at a time, and then we're going to transition onto our backs. Take your time, grab hold of your thighs to roll back, and keep your knees hovering, and then place them down onto the yoga mat. So your feet are now as wide as the yoga mat on the edges. Open your arms out wide, and we're going to reset the hips by folding the legs to the right at 90-degree angles. Holding it here. Maybe for a little extra, you can place your right heel on top of the left knee. Just taking 1 or 2 more breaths here. And when you're ready, if you haven't released the bind, take the right foot off the left knee and slowly rotate the knees over to the left to reset the hips again. Breathe in, breathe out. Very good. Allow yourself to find a relaxation here. We're nearly finished with the practice, just making a reset. All right, unravel that fold, and when you're ready, draw those knees in towards the chest, and take the knees in your hands and make gentle knee circles one way and another. Maybe you find a gentle sway side to side. We're about to transition now to happy baby, so draw the knees in towards the armpits, and that may be your pose, or take your peace fingers, your index and middle fingers, and wrap around the big toes, drawing them in. And maybe your happy baby is alternating, kicking one foot up and the other. Maybe it's pulling both toes towards you by bending the elbows. Be mindful also that we're stretching our tailbone towards the short edge of the mat. Or you can also, in this pose, take a straddle. Wherever you are, find what works best for you or what gives you the most for this pose. And continue to breathe deep and find just what feels good. We're nearly to the end. You're doing wonderfully, my friends. You get so many benefits from stretching out the legs. I'm not even kidding. You'll notice a sense of calm and ease. You'll notice tension melting away with each softening of the breath. A sensation of relief. And of course, with these deep leg stretches, you'll notice thoughts and feelings bubbling up. And it's okay to acknowledge them. But as this is our yoga practice, let's take our breath as a tool and use it to transition from moment to moment. When you're ready, bring your knees back in together and reach around your knees, give yourself a hug. And when you're ready, place your arms at your sides and rotate your knees down towards the floor to your left for a supine twist. Breathe into the twist. Breathe into your belly and low back. Maybe bringing your gaze to the right, maintaining a mindfulness of the right shoulder, keeping it glued down. Allow yourself to really settle into this pose. And we'll take 3 more breaths here, filling up the belly and the heart space, and then finding softness with your exhale. Simply be here in this pose for a few more moments. On your next inhale, draw the knees into the chest and guide them over to the opposite side on the right, allowing the knees to fall naturally, or using your right hand to deepen the stretch by placing it on your left thigh. Breathe deep here, friends. Really allow yourself to settle in here. Enjoy the stretch that we have cultivated here today. We're going to take 1 or 2 more deep breaths. Breathe in and out. And then we unravel completely, bringing the knees into the chest once more, and allow the feet to fall onto the mat and gently spill out one at a time, allowing your hands to naturally fall at the sides. Maybe you shimmy the shoulders underneath the chest to create space. If you have a pillow, you can use that pillow here to either place it underneath your knees or underneath your head to feel supported here. We're going to end in Shavasana with a brief body scan, just to take notice of any changes in the body from the beginning of our practice. Starting with the awareness of the feet, starting at the toes and the heels and ankles. And you can close your eyes if you haven't already. Bringing your awareness up the leg through the calf and the shin and the knee. Bring your awareness up the leg through the thigh and the pelvis and the hips. Just notice without judgment how they feel at these moments. Now spreading your awareness up the torso, the navel, the spine, the rib cage, the heart space, the sternum, the collarbone, and the shoulders. Expanding awareness now down the arm, biceps and triceps and forearms, wrists, palms and fingers. Notice everything in your body from the shoulders to the toes at full length. Just notice how they feel. After taking a breath, expand your awareness up the neck and bring your awareness to the jaw and find ease here, as well as the mouth. And if your tongue is at the roof of your mouth, relax it away from the roof of your mouth. And then spreading awareness to the cheeks, the nose, the ears, the brow. Relax the brow. Finally, to the crown of the head. Now encompass a full awareness of the body from the crown to the toes, in full loving awareness without judgment, just noticing how you feel in the present moment. Allow yourself some time for stillness to take in the nutrients of the practice today. And we'll take a few deep breaths here, and we'll conclude our practice. And feel welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you need. Let's do one more deep breath in. Long breath out. Now bring your awareness back into the space and wiggle your fingers and toes. We're going to bring our feet to the mat and roll to our favorite side. Take your time. And we'll meet in a cross-legged seat. We conclude our class in gratitude by bringing our hands together at our sternum and bowing into our hands to say Namaste, which means the light in me sees and honors the light in you. I thank you for joining me in this practice. Thank you, folks, for your patience with this voice overlay. I look forward to seeing you for future videos and future live feeds. We'd love to hear from you as well, so leave a comment below. Looking forward to seeing you again soon, and I hope you have a wonderful week. See you next time.